on the agenda, get you in and out?
Yeah, we can get in and out pretty quick.
Okay, bye.
Or you can stay for the whole thing, Joe.
I got some paperwork here from the engineer that we got, we're getting to do this study. Yes, I guess. What we did, we came over quite some time ago and put you guys up on the ARPA funds for the engineering study. And what had happened is we were involved with, and we still are, with the Planning Commission in St. Albans, the Great Mountain Planning Commission. And Emily Cross been helping us out with this mainly, but we had some people from the state, well, we had some meetings here, virtual meetings, when that COVID was going on. And they said that in order to get any of the bigger grants to replace the roof job, we needed to have the engineering study done. So what they suggested was that I got 3 estimates, and I called probably 15 different engineering firms, and most everybody was backed up. The one guy that we were interested in anyway was Tyler Billingsley from East Engineering, and I had called, I called these different firms. Green Mountain Engineering was the one that the state recommended, and they had gone out of business. We called them. I guess with all this COVID thing going on, it really made a mess of a lot of these places. And a couple guys just went out on their own, and he shut the door and said, "I'm done with it." So we couldn't go with them. They recommended them because they had worked with them in the past on quite a few projects. So I called. I had a whole list of the engineers I called and talked to. Some of them kept us on the line a while, and what we had to do was get the stipulations from the state because we were looking for grant money, and it was pretty involved, and a lot of them, I think, looked at that and said, we don't want to even give a bid on it. So Emily said what we needed to do, I had to put down all the calls that I had made and explain why they didn't want the job, or it was out a year and a half or so and they couldn't do it until then. And Tyler was the only one that he had worked with the state on some projects similar to this before. And he said he would be interested in doing the job. He looked at all the specs from the state, and I actually called Vermont Rural Water looking for some more engineering firms that would be interested in putting a bid on it. And they said they had worked with Tyler Billingsley before, because I told them we were talking to them, and they really liked him. And they've helped us out a lot in the past. They said he's very accessible, and he's easy to work with, and he does a good job. So, I mean, he got recommended by them, and Camp Precast also recommended Tyler. He had done a bunch of jobs for him. So he was our first pick anyway. So I wrote up all this and sent it to Emily. And Emily said, because you contacted so many firms and nobody really wanted to get into the job except for him, they could, they read up, who I talked to, when I talked to, and how many times I talked to him. And she said that they could go with this particular one bid if this is what we wanted to do. And, did she contact you, Kathy, with that?
She sent me a synopsis and a suggestion. Okay. Yeah,
so we don't actually have to have 3 estimates, I guess. And the whole estimate is right there on the first bottom of the page. The preliminary was $8,000. It explains what the preliminary is on step 1. And the final design and permitting, they take care of all the permitting and all that, is 15. So we're looking at 23,000. We had talked about 16,000 before, but I think that was with Green Mountain Engineering. It was only the preliminary engineering study. So he was under that on the preliminary. And what we're looking at is we'd like to get 23,000 to get this started. And also, a couple weeks ago, I was watching the news, and apparently the state of Vermont just got a big chunk of money. I don't know, you might know something about it, Kathy, 4 water systems alone. It's designated only for water system upgrades, and it was, I can't remember how many millions of dollars, but it was quite a bit.
You
Scott,
better find that phone number.
it's Governor Scott, he's the one that's got it. He was on there talking about it, and I didn't, but if we can get this engineering, especially the preliminary study done, then Emily can help us move along towards securing some of this money to do the job, and we may be able to get the complete job, you know, the complete, everything paid for, because they're actually doing something with that money in Randolph. They had some problems with their water, they're doing a big upgrade there, I saw them, and it was also, so the money is there, and if we can get our hands on it, that would be great, so. If we can get that 23,000 to cover all the engineering,
Well, we
we'll
would,
be happy.
the boys gave it all to the community center over there.
So,
For the, we.
So you could have seen
start with
budget,
the
John.
8,000?
We can, but if we can secure it all now and just
Yeah.
keep moving along, I mean, I don't know. Once they get the preliminary study done, if they wanna move along with the designs and everything else.
Where does the grant start coming?
Well, this is what,
Catch-22, isn't it?
yeah, well, I mean, Emily told us, and some of these people in the state, I can't remember their names, I had a bunch of names written down there, but when we were having the virtual meetings, they said, if you can get this done, then we can apply for these grants, and this particular grant wasn't out there at the time, this was over a year ago.
Right.
And the money is there, I think, if we can funnel it in
Is it
here.
a possible deal where you say we upfronted the money, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah,
Then when this grant stuff all gets along, can you be reimbursed for the original parts?
through the grant,
Yeah.
I don't know for sure.
You know,
You know,
I just wondered if it was a possibility, because sometimes I know that happens, if you can get the thing.
Well,
up
this
and
is, you mean reimbursing grant money,
Yeah, some
for
of this-
grant money?
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
this ARP funds is actual grant money, right?
right,
So, I don't know about that.
yeah.
Sounds kind
That's why I wonder
of,
if
that was kind of funky to me,
we
but I
should
don't
start with
know.
the 8,000, go for the grant, and then at the point you need more, then.
Just come back and approach us, because we haven't allocated all that money, you know? So
Yeah, I mean, and when we talked to you about this before, you told us we had 16,000.
Yeah.
We could get that. So,
we must have extra money coming in now, the meters reading properly, and you're getting full payments.
well, I'll tell you right now, it's slick, it is slick.
Have you brought in any more money quarterly, or have you?
We're just getting going on it. We got 5 meters left to put in, and we saved the problem ones for last, we're gonna do a little bit more.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's simple plumbing, but
Did
John.
you find a lot of leaks? in
It's
these,
problem
just
for
what
me,
you
but
want
not
with
for
the
me.
meters?
Well, what we've
Not
done,
huge yet.
No major,
No,
what we've done is, very few of the curb stops were documented on the print. So we've looked for every curb stop, found all but 2 so far. And we've got all but 5, we got just 5 meters left to put in. So we've documented all this, we got a book with all the curb stops documented, we got them working. We had some that had been over with plows, we had cut off and put extensions on them, got them to work.
yeah.
We just had a big issue there with a leak in the main road, which you don't like to deal with, but that was a big one. We had to deal with over by Waite's barn.
Oh, yeah, right.
And White is gonna be upgrading his line to his barn. We had to find a stop over there, and we had a heck of a time finding it because the railroad track ran through there, and it was documented, there was a 2-inch line went to the old slaughterhouse. And he only has a 3/4-inch line feeding his barn, so he needs something.
3/4?
Yeah, and it's galvanized pipe, so more, you know, it's been in there 50 years, so you probably got a whole lot big going down through there right now, you know, so he wants to upgrade it to at least 1 inch, probably 1.25 inches long. So, we found that, I mean, we had a hard time doing it
it's a
because,
gangster down there for the railroad, so our meter.
well, it was
our
documented.
multiplier just went off every 2 seconds.
It was documented in the print, but it was measured off an old switch. Where that was, I don't know, and a telephone pole that's no longer there. There's a pole there, but in a different
Like the
location.
big oak around by the back at the old inn.
Yeah, so when we replaced that valve, ran a camera right up there. It was supposedly 30 feet away from there, and we did find it. There's a T, and the 2-inch line goes from there. And we found the shut off. It was 3 feet under the ground as a 4-inch gate box, and for a 2-inch valve down there. The valve worked. We were lucky there. But we had
You didn't ever found it?
50 holes dug around there looking for that with a metal detector. We dug up railroad spikes, kite plates, you name it, you know, everything in there. So we finally gave up till we dug that.
Yeah.
That was a big expense for us because we had to hire some outside concern to help us with it. You know.
Right.
And so we got that done, and we got him set, so now it's his from there on out. He's gotta get Charles, he's gonna come to the end of the month and get that. So we've been trying to wrap up a lot of odds and ends. We actually had our sanitary survey, and first time in years, of course, Riley's running the system now. Came out with gold stars, you know, and, yeah, we didn't have anything.
We will be getting more money though, because the building across the road has never been metered.
Well, yeah.
The
Oh, it was a
The
good
Happy
old boy,
Hotel?
it was a good old
Yeah,
boy
yeah.
deal there at
Yeah.
one time with Neil and there, and what happened, they needed a backup well at the time for something, they didn't have a supply.
One of the
So they put a well in the basement, and it can't be used, there's a sewer system right next to it. It's not functioning properly, I'm sure it's not, and so there's 6 incomes there, and they've given them free water all this time, so. Next spring, this is our #1 project.
Get that puppy on the meters.
Yeah, yeah, there is with a meter in there, but there's no shut off outside. We've got to put a curb stop out there, and we're gonna hit them up to.
So back to this, really, to file for the grant, you just need the preliminary engineering done?
Well, that'll get things started, if you wanna get just.
I think.
That's fine with me.
They're both grants, but if you can get 15 from elsewhere, we can send that 15 somewhere else in town.
Well, I'm not expecting that. I mean, you're looking at, if you read up on this, you're looking at maybe 150,000,
Right.
200,000 for
Right.
that.
Just to put a
replacement.
concrete cover on that building.
That's awful, you know, and John and I actually went up in there and we replaced any of the rotten boards that were there before. We changed them all, it looked nice, the guy was impressed with it, he said, well, I guess, you know, but they still want you to put a concrete cover.
They want you to spend money.
Yeah,
But they couldn't get us for anything on it. We went up and we worked on that a while, and we put some new plywood, we changed there was some 2x4s that were starting to
yeah.
crumble, we cut them all out, put new ones in, and it looks good up there now, but, you know,
But if you apply and get the grant, you could add in the final design.
we can try it. There's
And
nothing,
if it
can't
doesn't
hurt to try
work, if
it.
we have to cover the final
Yep,
design.
no,
Yeah,
can't
no
hurt to
problem.
try it.
Good
Well-
thing. How is your water line itself? You know, the main lines, are they aging out on it or?
No, they're PVC lines. We
Okay.
did run into a can of worms on that dig where that valve was.
They're
It
not
was,
get 40, they're like,
it's,
like get 23, the really thin stuff.
Yeah,
yeah.
So it's a different size PVC.
So your fittings don't fit like normal lines?
No, we have to, yeah, and also, they had cemented that valve for some reason, I don't know.
Oh, they always do, I told you that.
There was some asbestos pipe there, 3 feet on either side of that, so we cut it out, Riley called the state. You know, he's the operators and I'm gonna take the state and, did the proper protocol,
Disposal.
what to do with it, and, we cut back to the PVC pipe, on the print it's showing all PVC, so we didn't know that was there, it's gone now. And,
They sleeved underneath the railroad track with, what, 10-inch steel pipe?
yeah.
And that pipe was sticking out of it about that far, where you couldn't get clay up on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, the infrastructure's been there since '68, I believe, but it's not steel lines. There are a few copper lines for services going to houses, but not that many, most of it's PVC. So we're not in bad shape as far as that goes. Every once in a while we run into a little blitz, but we're making some big improvements. Finding all the curb stops, a big one. And some of them were real pain in the fanny. We had to spend extra time when we were there, putting the meters in to find these curb stops. Some of them we had to use the curb stop because the valves were leaking. We had to change valves. We did make some
what about your
changes.
water hydrants? fire hydrants.
Hydrants, there are 2 new ones that we put in, they're not actual fire, you could call them hydrants if you want, they look like fire hydrants.
But you
You
just clip
can't
on.
suck off them, they'll just, you know, they'll pull it and suck.
There's
it.
gravity down the hill, so you can't
Yeah.
really,
Yeah. You won't come when it comes.
Yeah, we did replace 2 of those because they were bad and they had froze on the bottom. So the one by the post office is new and the one down by the community center is new. The big one over by the fire station is fine. Every fall, we put non-toxic antifreeze in them to, and every time they're used, we have to redo it.
Yeah.
Because they don't drain well in East Fairfield. You know, we put stone down there, but
doesn't
you know,
matter, it's ground level, water level.
yeah, so that's what it is. So the hydrants are decent. And like I said, they're only probably 3 or 4 years old.
Three.
Those 2. Yeah.
Factory.
You're gonna have to dam the old dam back up, get your water level up for that one by the wooden bridge.
Yeah, I don't know why they ever let them do something like that.
That was the state, I believe it, when they did
The
that
water
bridge
line
project.
does run under the river right there.
It doesn't-
I don't like that because it runs right down the
Well,
wall.
we had one guy wanted us to take the dam out. Oh, what was that, a few years ago? He was wanting us to take it out, and I said, that would keep them happy up there when their water all freezes.
That property was Reed's property.
Yeah,
I thought, they wanted $5,000 for it when I contacted them, it attaches to the boiling house.
yeah.
There's 8 acres there, and it does say in the deed that you have the right to operate that dam if you want. It is a novelty, is all it was.
They needed that over to the town of Fairfield.
I know they did, because I
Eventually.
told them,
They won't pay
I thought
taxes
about
on
it, and I didn't
Not
want it,
useful
so.
land.
Yeah,
And I didn't wanna pay taxes on it, so they gave it to Fairfield, because they didn't wanna pay taxes either,
yeah.
so now you guys own it.
I make a motion that we approve the 8,000 preliminary at this point, and the ARPA funds, and then we go from there forward.
Now, if we have an issue, trying to get that money, I don't know how that's gonna work, but if we have an issue trying to get that money,
If you need the final design,
yeah, can you kind of secure that for us and in case, we'll try to get it through the grant
Right, well,
process.
yeah, I think
Come back when you get to that point and we'll, I don't know, that's how I kind of look at it, is come back and we'll figure out what we can do, get the rest of it together.
How long is this ARPA funds gonna last here?
So the
25.
ARPA funds, the report is due in March, so I need to have, if we can get most of the projects all tied
Yeah,
up by
but
then.
we have 2 years to spend it.
We have 2 years to spend it, but in terms of the
Commitments.
complications of paperwork, when it gets to the reporting place, you should finish what you're doing and then do the next thing afterward, if that timeline works for you. So if you can get it all done before the March, that's okay, but otherwise it goes into a whole other system of,
I'll be back in contact with Emily at the
Yeah.
planning commission down there and ask her how long, you know, this whole process is gonna take.
Because we got money available,
Yeah,
just
there's
the
plenty of
reporting
money.
things back to the federal government about what you did with these.
Right.
Yeah.
if you don't finish the project that we agree on, then you will have to measure what percentage of the work is done and then provide documentation of that work so that we can provide that to the federal government and then they'll decide if we can give you the rest.
Okay.
So the
So
biggest
that's-
thing you're saying is they should get all the money, all the meters done.
Well, the meters, they already agreed to get those
Will
done.
be done.
But in terms of, this is a
But
separate
that'll
project.
all be done
That-
before you're reporting for next spring.
Yes, that'll be done. But in terms of this project,
Yeah.
if you can do one project at a time, it'll work better if you aren't sure you're gonna get it all done by March.
Yeah, I'd be awful surprised unless this money is readily available right now, because it said it was specific for water department upgrades. If we can get them on it right off, that'll be good, I'll ask.
And is he gonna start this, design, this first part right off for you?
He said he has a lot of projects going on right now, I mean, when he sent this was, May 9th. And I've been dealing with this right along, you
Yeah.
know, but it's been a process, and this is what you get with this stuff, you know? And, Emily finally went through all this other business. with those other engineers
You
and,
know, states and
um,
engineers, they're both, they're not just waiting at their
Yeah.
table waiting for something to do.
well, I just called him just recently, within the last 2 weeks, and he said that he's got a lot of jobs that he can do this winter at his desk type jobs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So this is something he could move on fairly quick, even now. And I asked him, I said, is this gonna, it was quite a while back, is it gonna affect the price or not? He said, no, the price will be the same. So,
It's better than most things.
yeah,
Seems to be day to day on that price thing.
well, yeah, plumbing parts, we've been buying a lot of plumbing parts there.
You get them all from Webb's or?
No, we deal with EJP and Webb's. EJP, we buy a lot of our bigger stuff through them.
No, were they, you ever, that Granite State, you ever done much for them?
Yeah, Greater Group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they seem a little less pricey on some things, I bought a few things.
It's hit and miss.
Yeah,
I've been using Webb's a while because they'll keep it more
Step.
across the board.
Okay, yeah.
And instead of every time you get something, you gotta say, hey, come on now.
We're trying to keep everything that we're buying towards the meter project marked meters,
Yeah.
So I don't need that kind of a mix up either, so.
No, they got
What
their
we
own
can
deal.
buy right there, we buy, and we buy all the meters through them also, so. We got the program, we just paid for that, the yearly fee for that. John has been up, him and Riley have ridden around, he's got the iPod that they use to read the meters, and we rode around, and as we ride around, it goes ping, 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 and it shows the GPS location, it gives you the customer's name, it gives you the address, everything.
Reading.
And then, the reading.
Yeah.
You download that into the computer and it does all the work.
It's a good system, it really is
It's
nice.
good, it's good to
So
hear it
we're
works.
almost there, we get these 5 meters done, and we're gonna do them here right off, we just got some more parts today.
But doing today.
Yeah, so we'll be on board with that, and it's just so we wanna move, we gotta do something with that roof, they keep hitting us on that. Why, it's ridiculous. We got a good roof on there now, and, it's a metal roof,
Not what they want.
they don't wanna see that wood in there for some stupid reason, I don't know. We fixed everything that was bad, it doesn't look bad in there at all, there's never anything in it, it's
Yeah.
clear. But that's another expense to us too, it's, probably be $2,500 when we have them come and check it, every 5 years we have to check. We did have to have skin divers, but now Simon's operation has a robot that goes in there, you have to take pictures of the inside of the reservoir, it sweeps the bottom, probably don't get a dustpan with stuff off the bottom of it. But it's, they make you do that every 5 years because it's a wood structure.
Yeah,
It's crazy. So that's an extra, the last time we did it was $2,300. So I'm sure that was almost 5 years ago. So
It's double
probably
that now.
double that now, But we can go with that robot now, so it should be a little cheaper, so. That's one expense we'll get out of, and headache we'll get out of if we do that,
so if you get the concrete,
yeah.
you don't have to do the job.
No. I don't know why, but, whatever.
They figure nothing to get in there.
Well, there's anything in there now,
Yeah,
You can see right at the bottom.
Yeah,
You can't buck them. And we're in their good graces right now, let's say.
well,
Is that gotta be a one-piece concrete or just?
No, I think it's precast and they'll send it in sections, but they put it together and in the end, I think what they do is put like a rubberized roof on it and then put those pea stone type thing on there. The ones
That's
that
what
we
I'm
look,
wondering, I mean, like for bridges and stuff, without the state design, in case anybody could throw it.
yeah, I know, they set it in sections,
Yeah,
and-
so,
just like putting a substitute together.
say $23,000, you just get,
Yeah, I know, but when you're dealing with that, I mean, it's.
somebody's looking out
It's,
for
it's,
liability.
it's going around Robin Hood's barn, like, I know what you mean, but, we're doing this stuff, we're not in anyway, pretty much,
you take somebody, like St. Allen's, you just did that concrete bridge, already, he could do something like that so quick that.
Yeah, I mean, this is, the permits and the bids on that, I'm sure there'll be bids that go out, that's what this engineer.
There'll be an inspector
Yeah.
that wants 10% of the cost, inspect it and all this crap.
I don't know,
It'll probably have to be a clerk of the word.
Mhm.
somebody, that's off in the, not in
Yeah.
the future.
We'll hear about it a bit.
Okay, so we can bank on that $8,000 and.
Yep.
if you
Does
go-
somebody want a second
I'll
draw?
second it, just so we get moving along.
So Ron, did you say, just in terms of the legalese around this, we need to say that we are using $8,000 from the ARPA fund
From the ARPA funds.
to pay for this.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You actually saved yourself some money because you'd already voted on the 16,000 before for the preliminary design, so there you go.
Yeah.
We're already saving you money.
Just like McDonald's, you get cash back.
Okay,
Well, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Keep us
Stay in touch, and it'll look similar to the other contract.
Thanks for your time.
I pulled up the article that you referenced at Sanitary Cathy. that you
Okay.
got the $200 million in water infrastructure.
Is that what it was, $200
Yeah,
million?
it was like 4 weeks ago, 3.
Yes,
And
yes.
Julie Moore, Secretary A&R, is talking about it, the whole big article.
It's all for just water.
Yeah, well, it's water, sewer, wastewater,
Yes.
stormwater,
Yeah.
but water infrastructure is, like, that was the real emphasis of the present.
Great, sounds like they got a big pot, and that'll be good, we can get into it. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you
night,
guys.
guys.
Thanks for coming.
Bill Miller.
So I got is, looking at doing a backstop over here at the, soccer field for, 'cause we have the one here on this corner for softball. And we're looking at doing is over where they put the corner where they put the addition for the school. Putting a small backstop up there to, for like a T-ball, machine pitch deal, so that way we can have a couple games going on. So I got estimate from True Leaf Landscaping, and they got an estimate from F.E. Hart from materials. If all went the way we're thinking, we could probably start doing it in about 2 or 3 weeks. It would be 12 feet tall. So the backstop itself would be 12 feet tall by 30 feet wide. So it'd be three separate sections too high. And then it would go on each of the sides of it. It would go another 10 feet long by 6 feet high, just for where the kids can sit behind for safety. This is the
No pitch? No pitch on the top?
no pitch on the top, no.
It's gonna be little
It's
kids,
gonna be-
like coach's pitch and T-ball
Yeah.
type.
Well, you know, future generations, we might be using it
School can put.
but that's in front of, you're using it in front of the one in front of the fire station.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that corner
Yeah,
there.
I mean, that's where they've been practicing playing anyway, it's just, they don't have any bases, they don't have any backstop.
No, but I just, you know, for when you're doing it, if you put a, you know,
Tip forward part.
Yeah,
you
which
know,
I can ask him, I don't think it'd be much more than maybe, I'm guessing about $750 probably more.
no, but I'm just, you know, you're
Yeah,
not thinking, but if you think down the road while they're right there, rather than try to do it later on, if you,
Right.
yeah. I mean, I can look into it, I just was kinda thinking, kinda like almost what Dave was thinking, just being the smaller kids. More likely just to go straight back, especially with machine pitch, it just, you have a lot of balls that go straight back. So don't get hit.
So you got a dugout section too? Excuse me.
So yeah, that section at the 10 foot past the backstop, and it's only 6 foot tall, will be where essentially we'll build backstops on both sides.
Yeah.
But, no, I just wanted to bring you guys the quote, just make sure you guys were okay with it, I don't know who wants to,
You've got it in your budget.
we do have it in our budget, yes.
How much is it?
The total cost, is $4,975.85.
there should be less opposition to it now. There's no sliding hill behind it anymore.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Oh, they have to go over a little further because of the ropes and all that?
No, because the school's there now.
No, the way they built the school, it used to be enough of a hill, the kids could slide
Oh,
down.
that's where they used to go down through and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all we need to do is say, yeah, go ahead and put it up, cause it's town property. We don't have to do anything else.
Yeah, he came in this week and told me about it, and I thought it might be good just for you to all be updated. You haven't seen anybody from the rec committee for a while,
Yeah.
and this sounds cool, so.
I think what he's planning on doing too is not, digging with an excavator, he's gonna auger the holes down and then just saccharine in the post.
Is there anything there, just because remember the trouble we got in once before,
Um,
with that cable that went from the schools?
Yeah.
there shouldn't be any electrical there, I can get a hold of Dig Safe just to make
The
sure.
only reason I bring it up is because they get into a hassle and Norm dig for something when you're putting in those poles.
Yep.
And they caught that.
Norm was putting those, yeah, that was the, telecommunications
Yeah.
going down to the community, or
Down the-
common school.
I mean,
Technically, anytime you dig a hole, you're supposed to call
Yeah.
this, I mean, it's safer to do that, it's free.
Yeah,
You're having F.E. Hire do it, right?
no, if you heard, no, Greenleaf is doing it.
Greenleaf is doing it, right?
Yeah.
So the contractor is responsible for calling Dig Safe. So I would have that conversation with him, just make sure he's not trying to
Right,
slide one under the fence, you know?
Are they a local company?
there, it's Nick Boyle, who lives over in East Fairfield,
Oh, yeah, yeah, I know him.
yeah, right across,
The little mooring house right there, parks
Yeah.
almost in the road.
correct, yeah. No, and that's why we're using him, figure, try and keep it local.
Yeah.
But yeah, just wanted to show you guys that and make sure it was okay for us to be drilling into the soccer field. I mean, I'm
Make more use of it.
assuming that, granted assuming, but, I mean, I don't think there's been anything done since we did that leach field around the soccer field. So I'm rather certain he probably dug down or at least as far as we're gonna go
Yeah.
with those posts that he did to dig down for that leach field.
Yeah, because I think those are 8-foot holes they bought.
Yeah.
So.
Did you talk to the principal, or did you tell the school?
No, I haven't told.
Just a heads up, I think probably that's happening.
It's on California.
No, doesn't matter. Okay. They're probably not in soccer anymore.
Oh no, we're in full swing of soccer right now. That we will, at some point, the other things we're kind of looking at doing over there is, dugouts need a lot of improvement when tearing up, where I think the shell itself is fine, but tear off the extra 11 or plywood, whatever's there now. Put new trim around, probably put PVC trim, less maintenance. And then at some point build some new dugouts, or we're gonna put this smaller fields and also put just figure out the dimensions and put a little field in there for them for the base paths, just base paths, you know.
Yeah.
And we still have all that material over there that we can use for base paths. It was extra from when we did the softball field. I know we still can, we're still gonna do the run for Chet this year. We're gonna do that a little bit later though, I believe October 23rd is the date that we agreed on. We may move it from, instead of doing it over in East Fairfield and closing down the roads, we're thinking about moving it up here to the school where Michelle does the cross-country track anyways. So ease of parking, not closing down roads.
Yeah, it's a little more, less dangerous.
Yeah, just, it makes it easier on all fronts.
Yeah.
But we're doing a collaboration with the school or the library and the community center as far as for trunk or treat. And I don't know, doing something with the community center. I'm not sure what we're doing. Or at the building over there.
You're doing rec soccer now.
We're in the middle of doing rec soccer right now. I think we still have 3 Sundays left for that. And then
And then Gary, how many kids you run through there?
numbers are wavering very drastically this year. It goes, we'll have 50 kids one day, and then we'll have 30 kids another one, so. And age groups all vary. Sometimes we have more pre-KK, sometimes we have more first second graders, so. We then, come, I believe it's January, we'll start doing, in the school there, we'll start doing the basketball program also. It sounds like, from what I'm hearing anyway, it sounds like there's gonna be a lot of activity with that. It sounds like a lot of people are kind of looking forward to that one.
Good.
So they're letting you in this year.
What's that?
Said they're letting you in this year.
Yeah. That's, if anything, I've definitely noticed, I don't know if you have, but, Kelsey definitely wants parents back in school. That's, so that's actually a lot nicer to see where she's like, come in.
Wants to be
We
part of
want
the
you to
school,
see.
so they stay part of the community.
Yeah.
The whole 9 yards, make,
She gets it,
yeah. Makes a lot more sense to me.
yeah. But, yeah, that's about all it is in a nutshell.
So you got, still keeping some active members, or have you picked up more members, or about the same for your committee?
We put it out there, it's, I mean, Kelly, Raymond St. Pierre there, she's kind of on the board, I guess, I mean, not, she's been coming to the meetings anyways.
Yeah.
So that's, helps out a little bit here and there, Emily, Corey Bailey there, she's been coming to the meetings also. But pretty much it's still me, Rebecca Shomian, and Chad and Michelle lacrosse. It's definitely, it's hard finding volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like the activities, but they don't wanna have to
Yeah,
put some effort in.
yeah, soccer's been interesting.
Everybody's a pro, we're gonna be.
Oh, no, I mean, as far as getting people to, thank God for the older kids. They like to step in and help, so that's been good.
That's really nice.
That's a good form too, anyways.
Yeah, it's funny, we just went to Rhode Island, to see Ellie's and her family,
Yeah,
Maeve's 10, and where they had their soccer in that town, there's an old Air Force base from World War II. So you get there's all these runways here in this way, and they got soccer fields all over. And they got yeah, but they must have a larger budget we got, because Brendan was playing, her older brother, a lineman for the game.
yeah.
He got $20. Yeah, I thought that was, I said, well, a little different, I guess our pay schedule on.
So while you were there, did you offer to do the alignment too then?
I didn't wanna throw them off,
Oh, okay.
be critical. We went to Gracie's game the other night, Grace played Middlebury at Carnes. We came back from Maine Friday, right in front of one net, there must have been 4 inches of water.
Oh, yeah.
Every time they went there, oh, sorry,
Yeah, we probably got that right now here.
well, I bet right now you do.
It's pretty
That
quick.
blows them down before they get in the car,
I have this on I can leave with you guys if you want, or take it, I don't care, whatever you guys.
You're running that show, in my mind.
You guys have the budget and the plan, and
Yeah.
I think we're okay with you
I-
putting the backstop up. It's not the first time we've said something about it.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with that.
No, it's nice to keep us up to date.
Yeah, just so we know what's going on, some of the questions.
We're not trying to run your show, so it's just, I'd like to know what's going on.
Yeah, no, I think that it'll benefit, as far as the
It'd be nice
ease.
to have 2 kids playing at the same field.
Yeah,
Should've done this about 8 years ago.
yeah, probably should've. It'll make things a lot nicer. I mean, this field here, now that it's pretty dang nice now, everybody wants to play on that one, so.
Yeah.
So I
They're
think,
using it on the weekends now too,
oh yeah, yeah.
softball.
What age does soccer start at?
For the rec soccer, I mean, 4 years old, but honestly, I mean, if somebody brings a 3-year-old, it's not like we're gonna we've had,
He's only 1.5, we'll wait.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we've had
It's
people,
not babysit service now.
Oh
we've had
my
people
God, you
that
should
weren't
see
even
him
in
kick a
town,
soccer ball.
like, what was it, McCausland there, the oldest one,
No.
Seth?
Yeah,
Yeah, like, he wasn't even a resident of town and started bringing the kid and he's like, "Ah, is it okay?" He's like, "Yeah, we're here to play soccer, if he wants to play, hop in, I don't care." Cause we're not charging, that's the other thing, I mean, that's where I'm kinda surprised with the numbers too, being lower this year is, you know, the fact that we don't charge anything for the soccer. I mean, granted, we're not practicing 3 days a week and playing games, but
Yeah.
it's something,
Just, yeah,
but you got
initiate.
50 kids is fabulous.
yeah.
Or 30,
Well, let's just start,
Fabulous.
you know, I mean,
it's
you know,
fabulous.
nobody knows until it gets around, I mean, I think a lot of,
Well, and that's the other thing, you forget, a lot of those people are people that you, or at least I don't know. Because
Yeah,
they're all the first timers, you know, they're kids in first grade, they don't know all the other parents, they don't know how sports work yet.
yeah,
Take for granted when kids get to be older like ours, Jesus, it's just another thing, you just throw them out there.
right, that's true too.
well, you know, some go to, you know, the hard act,
Hmm.
you know, so if
Yeah.
you're taking one kid there, you might as well take the whole
Yeah,
crowd.
there is a lot of kids that do that program and it's a great program, I mean, if you want the higher commitment of 2-3 practices a week and playing games, that's great. But-
No, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, you know, if they go down for their older kids,
Yeah.
which is, you know, if you're gonna play in high school, you
Yeah.
gotta start there, because if you're not,
Oh, yeah, and you know, we can't compete with that, we don't have that budget nor the staff.
no, I realize that, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know, it's political agenda down there, if you don't start with little,
Yeah, no, it's all the sports down there, between football and soccer, all
yeah. Hockey,
of them.
lacrosse,
But, yeah,
well, good luck.
Yeah, thanks for coming in,
Thank you,
time.
yep.
alright, perfect.
See you later.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alright,
Approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve them. So we get a second.
Anybody have additions or comments on it?
Number 5, black truck is back, just say, what was that, 550 or whatever it is?
Yeah,
We've got 3 or 4 black trucks.
that's the one that they originally took to Vulcan, or what it was called now.
Yeah.
And they wanted to put a $4,000 or $5,000 part in it. And then they weren't doing something, they pretty much told Mo and them take it up to phases. When they did it, they cleaned it all up, so there's no reason to change it.
Well, they're trying to put it through warranty.
Right, but they said there wasn't enough to justify it, so. And the boy said it rained good when they brought it back.
So you wanted to say 550?
Yeah, that's 550, the Ford
Okay.
550.
Ford,
Ford 550.
Ford 550. A detail you guys know that I don't. Your black truck, I write black truck.
What about, so how along are they on Jewwares now? Did you get the deck on?
I did the license, huh?
Have they got the deck on?
I didn't.
They have the deck on.
They do.
I
saw
assume
the
since the crane's not here, or not over there.
Yeah, the deck is on, I was gonna go today, but I didn't have time, but, the deck is solid. I think that they were waiting on, guardrails, and they were doing some, not backfill, but, you know, leveling it out.
Yeah, it needed that last time I went by, the deck was on, but no backfill. Looked scary. Did someone second the minutes?
Well, they're still discussing them.
Still gotta second them before you discuss them.
I'll second them.
Now you can keep going.
Of course, I wonder if Linda heard any more about that soul deal up there, you know, on this tax sale.
So I can definitely talk to you about that. It's on my agenda to talk to you.
Okay.
There's probably also be about for the shelter, about that. The legality of turning up the road.
I actually am not there yet, so we're not there yet. I'll give you an update about it. So. I do have, did you vote?
So we're gonna vote on accepting them, yes?
Is there any other comments on the minutes? All in favor of approving them?
So, Linda had an unexpected, thing that she had to get to, private thing that she had to get to, so she handed me two things, which we haven't discussed, so I don't know a lot about them, but one is, she has a quote from Newton's Decorating Center for the, to replace all the flooring. You had asked us to get a quote for that.
In the town clerk, in the office,
In
the
the
town clerk's office.
That's what I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's pretty high, I think it's high. She got it from Newton's Decorating Center, it's $10,702. To glue down, prep, patch, and install, and it's, feather finish underlay. So I'm just really looking at this for the first time. But
10-7, you said?
yeah, $10,702.
That's for the offices.
It's for the town clerk and the hallway area, all of the areas that have flooring from that area. I don't think that he did my office.
What is it, a square foot?
Is there another one you could probably check with these sticks? We're into that big time now. Yeah.
Do they have a crew?
Huh?
Do they have a flooring crew?
They said according to their attitude.
I don't see it on there. So would you like us to?
Would it be the same kind of floor that is in there now?
I think it's laminate she was looking for.
Right, there's a laminate plank stuff, snapped together, so it's floating floor or
Again,
glued
I
down,
really
sounds like.
I didn't have the conversation, I didn't meet with the guy, I didn't.
At that price, I'd like to see another bid or two before we commit to that.
So would you like sticks and stuff, and was there another one?
Who else does that? There's different flooring places around, but I can't think of the name right off the head.
There's one in
There's
Swan,
one on
A1
105.
A1, yeah, that Ryan and Jordan just bought that.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's one on 105, isn't there, like across from.
To go apples and apples, you almost need to know what they're laying down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ask her to get a couple more bids and to clarify on the bids what the square footage is
Square footage and type of flooring.
and the type of flooring, yeah.
And I guess make sure it's commercial grade.
Yeah, it's gonna
Right,
be-
it is,
Yeah.
it is, yeah. I didn't know.
I mean, Newton's good, but he's sometimes rural, but he does nice work, for the guy that he has.
Yeah.
If he
Did you
doesn't
say
do it himself, huh?
That was the original.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, we're looking at a different one. Oh, it sticks and stuff, and there's a flooring place in Swanton.
See, there's still that heat schedule working.
I don't know. We haven't had anybody since quite a while, so,
And the other thing that she did was she brought a quote for a laptop. A Dell Latitude 3520 is $1,180. This is from Mac, he provided, basically what it would take for, so that's the laptop, and then all of the things that need to go with it. There's a $40 briefcase to keep it safe, a mouse, and a malware protection license. And then labor to make sure that it's all configured and updated and ready to go.
1,000 what?
The total quote is $1,526.
And what is the basic usage of this one?
So this would
For
be
both, right?
in the office for basically Linda or I or anybody who comes in to use this screen. It comes up randomly where we just don't have what we need in order to sync to this. There was a couple presentations where they asked when they got here if we had things that we needed, and then they ran out to the car to find their own laptops and try to figure out if they could do it. So yeah, I think it's just making sure that we have something. We should talk a little bit about the grant writer again later, but we don't have anything for a grant writer to work on in this office. So that would be
Did she
another.
also say there's something like for voting, she needed?
Yeah, and for voting,
Yeah,
if
but this
you're,
computer, you're not gonna give to a grant writer.
it stays inside house.
Yeah, but
So
it's-
the other thing was that she would bring it, if we have voting at the school, she can't access the state information that she needs to access in order to do some of the work that needs to get done.
I'm gonna say, cause the night she
Just
talked
to run
about it
back.
was more, she was more emphasizing on the voting part.
Running back and forth, yeah.
Being able to, even if she was downstairs, it'd make it easier going back up and down.
Right. And I had mentioned that, well, although we don't have it in our operating budget, we do have, so the balance as of September of our ARPA funds is $136,327. That's after the expenses, and then we did receive another $102,227. So, and we're expecting another $189,673. So we have a total balance once that money all comes in of $428,228. And we do have a cybersecurity infrastructure line in.
Isn't there some capital improvement in the town clerk's office that hasn't been used yet for reserve?
So you
Yes,
say,
there is.
you just went from computer to ARPA, is the computer eligible for ARPA somehow?
Mhm.
Would you like to do that?
Yeah, you can use ARPA funds to cover the cost of any administrative or town projects.
I just soon see it come out of that ARPA fund, if we got money in our own, which is usually fun, use it for stuff, because we wanna make sure we get done around here.
Like the floor.
Good.
There's supposed
That's
to
a
be
capital
money,
improvement.
right, there's supposed to be money so much a year in the budget anyway for maintenance of this building.
Right, and there is.
And there's like 10 grand, I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying,
So that can.
You want a motion for that? You want a motion for that, or?
If we can work it out of our fund, let's just move on.
So yeah,
Something
we
we should
need a
have.
motion
So.
You gotta have a motion to use the ARPA
to
funds
use
to buy
ARPA
it.
funds.
So we-
So a motion to use ARPA funds to cover the cost of the computer as bid by
Exactly what I was
Matt.
gonna say.
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Thank you. I don't know where Will is. I have nothing to report on Will's front. I can tell you a
Well,
couple of
if
things.
he had something, he would be here, so it's
Yeah.
probably nothing. I know they blocked up the North Road today,
It's,
See, they had the loader down there, that's good. I'm gonna go buy it.
cause
it's not very flat.
huh?
It's not very flat.
Well, it's pretty smooth to make it through.
On the edges,
Oh,
it's like where it joins, it's already sinking.
No, I think they're gonna put a top coat on
So they put a base coat
it.
down.
It looks like they put a base coat, I haven't seen them available.
I think, it looked to me like it was finished off.
Is it? Okay.
I'm not sure, but.
I mean, when I came through, it was steaming and wasn't no bump like it used to be, so I figured it was just all done, but
We need guardrails. That's also coming.
yeah.
And they're gonna be coming from the same place that St. Ange's is ordering their guardrails from, so we're hoping to get those done at the same time.
It's
Sometime.
only one person that does that.
Right, they were working down through the hill today, down there putting them off.
It's hard to patch a road at night.
Put them on, take them off.
Yeah, I think
I'm
it
putting
was.
Smith locks here.
I think they.
Or maybe they put them on, I don't know, there was guys working, let me put it that way.
Yeah, I think they were putting that cement barrier there, so they must be planning on doing some work.
Oh, could be. You're right, there was a truck with barriers on it.
Keep going.
So the Chester Arthur Bridge, you wanted an update on that, and Bethany told me that the V-Trans selection for the new bridge project in our region is going to the Swanton Village, Route 78 bridge that spans in the Missisquoi. So we can nominate bridges again in 2024, and she said that V-Trans would be using our nominations to select another round of bridges. So, it's all going to that really terrifying.
So 2024, you mean, of course,
So
that
the-
collapses in the meantime,
As
then
I
we'll put
said,
some
when
money
it falls
towards it.
down, we'll just replace it.
So we get just probably if you need it done earlier, then you need to.
And we need to tell our buddy Doug to keep pumping it up at the regional planning, because that's how they get through.
Yeah, that would be a good message to him, to say,
Yeah.
anytime there's talk of bridge or
Tell them
infrastructure.
how you fear for your life each time you cross it.
Well, and especially when they're gonna replace this and all the traffic's
Mhm.
gonna get sent across it.
Yeah.
It's only a one-way bridge.
Yeah. Well, they said they're gonna put a traffic light as part of it,
I'm
right?
still on that, no, we gotta meet on Wednesday, so
Boy,
I'll make sure to do that.
but
I gotta be in
that's
touch
how
with her
that
about
bridge got in that house, because he went to every goddamn meeting they had. and kept pumping it up.
I got the impression that there were a lot of disappointed people because they only selected one bridge and there were multiple nominations.
Yeah.
So when she says that there'll be another round of bridges, she's expecting that they're gonna do a more encompassing selection process next time.
So this is the one in Swanton they're gonna do?
Yeah, this is the one on 78 that spans from just over the Missisquoi before you come up to Scampers, that big
That's a
bridge.
big old bridge.
It's terrifying. It's really scary.
Well, I guess a bundle of traffic. Can you imagine when they take that bridge out?
What a mess that's gonna be.
Well, I bet they're
Everything
gonna
will have
make
to
them
go
all
by
go around
36.
Route 7 on BB Road and back down that way or something, but they don't know where they got across.
Or 36 all the way down McClung.
Right, but if they just wanna get back into Swanton, that bridge, they close it
Yeah.
down. So
Yeah.
they're gonna have to do that right there. Yeah. Well,
Um,
not our way, thank God.
So the lot striping update is that, Scott's line striping did put in a bid, he's the only bidder. And he said that he can do the upper and lower parking lots here for $500 and, $500 to do the one at the beach. And then he also gave, an estimate for the library, which I'm gonna give to them, and their trustees would decide if they wanna go with it or not. So that would be.
So $500 per.
$500.
Each project. I
Yeah.
don't think that's bad. I'll make a motion, we accept it.
Do it now or do it in the spring?
He said that he can squeeze it in this fall.
Yeah, but
Right, but do we wanna do it now or wait till spring?
Oh,
do
that's
it in
good.
the spring, dress it up.
Well, I'm just thinking like up by the pond. Was that including the pond area?
Yep.
It's another 500 for.
Right, but I'm just thinking it'd be nicer up there if it was done in the spring, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because it's not gonna be used much this winter, that's for sure.
Right, just run plows over it.
Yeah. Could we accept the bid and say we'd like to wait till spring?
See if you'll,
Yeah, I-
Feel
see if
on-
you'll honor that quote.
We definitely do it with them, but we just as soon wait now till spring.
okay.
Because we won't strip it all off in the winter months and everything else.
The other thing when he does the pond, that we want to change the angle of those stripes.
So the reason it was inexpensive was because he had already done this striping, and if we have to change the striping, then we need to tell him that, and it'll be an extra cost. So it's something that his company's already made, it's already kind of designed, they know what they're doing, but if they have to change the striping, it's a little more.
What would you do?
Keep people on the road a little more.
Just change the angle so their butts aren't out in the road.
If you follow the lines today with a truck, a good sized vehicle, they sticks out quite a ways, but if you angle it a little bit more, it doesn't.
Would you like?
I did it with my truck, I actually see if it really made a difference.
And when it got first done, we asked him to come back and fix it. Remember Amanda
Yeah.
wanted him to come back and fix it? And it was gonna be a whole pile of money because of the way that they have to take it off
Right,
to
right.
fix it. So he knows we weren't happy with it when it was first done.
Okay,
Well,
I can ask. If we
let's
can.
ask him how much, that's the only one, the rest of it we're happy, we don't wanna change anything. That one there, just because of the vehicle sticking so far in the road, I wonder if we can take the angle.
The only advantage to having them stick out in the road is it makes the cars slow down when they're coming around through the beach. Which,
So that's our
This is the
inexpensive
best
safety design for speed control.
I mean, it does slow people down
Yeah.
because cars stick way
Yeah.
the hell out.
Cindy and I went by one day, so we had a big pickup, and of course, they had bollards, and they had
Right.
almost, at least a quarter of that lane. You know, so you did have to. slow
Yeah,
yourself.
You have to slow right down to go around there.
And sometimes
People stick way
it's
out.
kind of frustrating, they won't pull up to the curb. They're like,
Yeah,
"Three feet away."
they'll be 2 feet away
Yeah.
from the curb, it's like
Go
those
on
curbings there, I mean,
into the
just cut
parking
it with your tire,
spaces
bud.
on the
It's not
right,
that
should
hard.
move away from those.
But
Somebody seconding?
So, just to clarify, are we saying that you would accept the quote and you're asking for me to get another
Well,
estimate?
just ask them, we'd like the angles changed up by the pond, but how much money are we talking to change the angles?
Okay.
And if
How
you,
much do you wanna angle it? Cause at some point it's,
Yeah, you almost,
it's too much and there's, the V-Trans standards will allow it, or don't generally go further.
I guess if you live with these prices until spring, and then just say, if we did change the angle, how much would, just so we have a number to keep in
Okay.
mind.
Yeah.
But I'd make that motion that we go with that. And, well, with the bid we got, he'll hold it till spring, and we definitely have to do it first thing in the spring.
Okay,
And then if we did want to change it, how much would it cost us up there?
okay.
Somebody seconds that, we'll get it done.
Tom made it first, and you
Well,
second.
whatever.
Yep. That's why I got him first, I'll
Yeah,
second his
yeah, just
motion.
get her done.
Because we didn't talk about this.
There you go, James, all right.
I will, all those in favor?
Aye.
So this doesn't require any effort on your end or motion or anything, but I wanted to give you an update that the People's United credit cards that we've always had, I'm sure you've heard in the news that People's United and M&M Bank have merged, and that there have been a lot of problems around that. We were in that problem place. I've been on hold, so doing work, but on hold for over 8 hours over the course of the last 2 weeks, just so that we can access our credit card information, because they assigned the tax ID number to Mo instead of a social security number. They assigned the wrong person, like not Amanda or I, to actually access some of the information, but you couldn't get there because of the tax ID fiasco. So we're talking about 5 different departments. It's been awful. So as of, I also, at one point, because in our financial policies and codes, we have a very clear distinction between managing money and paying the bills versus, accepting cash receipts. And they were telling me that they couldn't do something, and Linda would have to register online to access and manage the account and then assign me that position. And so I did talk to our lawyer about that just to see if that would, put us in a bad place with the state, because there are really clear distinctions. So that's what I'm working on. It should be resolved by tomorrow. The lawyer threat was kind of scary for them, I think. They sent me a form that I filled out, I sent it back. I went in for a meeting in St. Albans on Friday with the regional manager and didn't leave until he had a plan of action. So we're in a good place, but it's been a pain in the butt and really awful to be a part of. So just an update.
So are they gonna resolve it then?
They're resolving it. It will be resolved as of tomorrow. I did get information from our lawyer about the fact that this is outside of what could possibly be anticipated within our financial policies. If they're telling us that we have to do something through Linda, we can do that, and it wouldn't hurt we wouldn't be liable for any kind of issue. But I believe they're gonna fix it on their end, because I said that I was gonna contact our lawyer.
Doesn't make sense, you got a treasurer and a town administrator, the town clerk doesn't have anything to do with it.
Nothing to do with it. I think it was an algorithm glitch. I mean, my impression is that they just carried everybody over from one bank to another using an algorithm, and for whatever reason, Fairfield went all weird. And so I just wanted to access our credit cards online. That's how it started. And that's when I found out that it was just a disaster, so
It wasn't just Fairfield, my daughter got caught up in the same thing, so.
it's a mess.
Yeah.
So, do you have any questions on that? That should be taken care of by the end of the day tomorrow.
If they don't get it resolved, can't you just get a different credit card?
Yes, and I've already started looking at that, so permission to look into
I was
getting.
just gonna say, you deal with people's trust and everything, why don't we just
Yeah.
get a card through them?
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know why we ever went with this other one to begin with.
so I did a little research, and I think that the reason for that is because people's trust, they don't issue credit cards, they issue debit cards, and debit cards come directly from our operating funds, so it would go counter to the checks and balances we have in place. So there are multiple different kinds of credit cards that we can go to. I'd like to look into what's out there. I don't have any trust
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
bank, and I don't see them being able to deal with what's happening right now effectively, so. I mean, you shouldn't get to that point where you're so frustrated you contact a lawyer. So I would like to go and look at those and I can bring the options to you at the next meeting. And I have to go through Amanda as well. She's the person to choose banks for us. So the library trustees they couldn't attend this meeting, but they can attend the 11th select board meeting. They'd like to come to that meeting. And it would just be an update on financials and then planning and discussing about next steps for collaborating and
I thought
communicating with
that's
the
the one
select
you're
board.
canceling.
What was that?
I thought that's the one you're canceling.
The Monday is not happening, but we agreed to do it on Tuesday.
That's the 11th.
That's the 11th. Yeah. So they'll be coming. The Chester A. Arthur room, I do have a draft for the rental agreement. I just added basically what we talked about last time, access to and use of the room. That the room must be reserved, but also I said, the room and access to using the room and anything including technology, is at the discretion of the town administrator and select board. So there's some flexibility. And then other than the Chester A. Arthur room, the building is off limits outside of business hours without special permission from the town administrator and select board. We did look at the locks. We have locks on all the doors. This door, however, locks from the inside and not the outside. So anybody can lock you out, but we can't lock them in. So we were talking about accessing the bathroom and the rest of the building. We can't lock people in to use just this door at this time unless we change the locks. But I think
All the other doors locked.
all the other doors locked, so they could access the kitchen and the bathrooms if we just lock all the other doors.
They're locked anyway, aren't they?
Now they are. We didn't used to lock them, just Kathy's office was locked.
Yeah,
Zoning was unlocked and Lister's office was always unlocked.
and I think that we're just having that in there, that you can have permission to use the building if we need it. That's just clarifying. And then that's basically it. We didn't have a line for purpose of use of the building, the room at all, anywhere on the form, so I added that. And a little spot at the bottom that says space access and special requests, etc., so that you can actually write it on the form.
I mean, technically, you could lock your kitchen just to save, because,
It doesn't have a door.
it doesn't?
It doesn't have a door. So does anybody want to look at this? I mean, it seems like it's everything that we had talked about, and there are not huge changes to it.
Sounds good.
Good.
Okay.
I mean, if we had a chance, if the lock isn't quite like we want, at some point we would make the lock.
You can't lock them out of the bathroom, can you?
If you don't include it in the thing, you can.
Well, it gives flexibility, it would give us flexibility for.
There's no urgency, but yeah, we can look into it for sure. I doubt it. We also have to fix the lock on the front door, so I could look into a locksmith to fix both, to look at a bid for both, whatever possible.
If you're looking at the upstairs door, you should look at the bottom downstairs door too. Somebody opened it last week and the thing, the thing?
The rod.
The rod was only ever locked on the bottom and it was so rotted from salt and all that it snapped. So now
Sounds
just
like
the top one is
Sounds like a
is
good
locked.
ARPA fund project.
Alright, so I'll look at all three of those and.
It still locks because the top,
Yeah.
I got the top to lock.
Building's 20 years old, so you must start having some repairs on it.
Well, yeah, it's all the salt and shit getting pushed up against it, just rotted, snapped right off. I was kind of, whoa, surprised.
I would just have to charge against the user, that's all.
Yeah,
I think it.
there's that powerful goddess kid.
The Lemoil Valley Rail Trail Slope property update. So, I was all excited because, I did meet with NRPC and V-Trans. There was one person from each of them about the grant, and we're talking about maybe what are the options if we wanted to make a parking lot out of that property and could they help with, the costs associated with getting that building off the property or tax sale. They said that we should strategize with Mark Fitzgerald, the Vermont Agency of Transportation Property Management Section Chief. And I did get the impression that V-Trans may be willing to incur costs related to dealing with this because it's on their property. So, they introduced me by email, I followed up with him, we're going to set a meeting to talk about what might the options look like. And they understand that we don't wanna move forward with a project unless the tax sale situation or the building situation is dealt with. There's an agreement between us that about who maintains the property if we decide to make it into a parking lot so that it's feasible and appropriate for us as a small town. So, and I was all excited about this until I talked to Linda and she said, yeah, that's the guy that I've been trying to get in touch with for a year, so.
Right, did you talk to him?
So we have 4 people, myself and Northwest Regional Planning and V-Trans and a grant and the Lemoil Valley Rail Trail behind us now. So I have an email correspondence with him at this point. But I think that it may have taken that.
Right, I've got a feeling that they're looking to do that, find parking spot, parking heads, whatever they want.
Mhm.
They're gonna be a little more interested in telling John, get your building off here, so I'm
Yeah, yeah.
end the lease.
There was a
Maybe he
question,
hasn't been paying on the lease either. He hadn't paid the taxes, I doubt he paid the lease on the building.
yeah, I did. So they can also do the research on this as well.
We could.
Well, as I said, push it, so
They're
they should be
doing
interested,
research.
they own the land,
Yeah,
Mhm.
we're trying to get rid of the building.
Yeah.
You guys can take it from
Yeah,
there.
we're
And
trying
he's-
to enhance your rail trail.
he's been dealing with issues like this all around the rail trail. There's one in Leesburg that's very similar where
Good.
the lease and the property owner and
What's the
it's just
guy's
a
name?
mess. His name is Mark Fitzgerald, he's the Agency of Transportation Property Management Section Chief. And he's been the one dealing with all of this, so,
I'll put a fire.
let's see, what
Good.
else? Yeah, I thought that was good.
You got
This,
a number, an email?
I have an email for him and I can forward you what we have going on.
I'll give him a call.
So the Star Wind Farms update, the Pond Association, Fairfield Pond Association, through its president, or chair, sent a whole list of questions, which I did send, questions and all of the comments and requests about the turbines, into the turbine people and also the Public Utility Commission. I haven't heard back and I followed up again with them today to see, they actually didn't confirm receipt. There were 2 emails that we were supposed to send things to and they didn't confirm receiving the email. So I sent it urgent again and we'll see hopefully.
Yeah, we just had Northwest Regional Planning project review at 6 o'clock, and there was 10 people from the pond on a project review committee, and they all got a lot of questions, so it's starting to kind of bubble. There's no answers, there's a lot of questions,
Yeah,
and they didn't have a quorum, but like I said, there was 10 people from the pond on that, at 6 o'clock tonight, so it got deferred for another Wednesday meeting, I guess, for project review, so.
I requested what is the next step, confirmation of receipt and what are the next steps for this process?
Was that for the PUC or for the developer?
I did both.
Okay,
I emailed, they said to email the developer, but I CC'd the turbine, the utilities commission.
cool.
You'll see that the Freightliner's in AP and it's coming this week and my understanding is that I don't give the check until the thing is here and Mo signs it, so that it's
Till they get a
in good
chance to
shape.
walk around it, check
Yeah,
it out,
exactly,
make sure
check it
everything's there.
So I just wanted to assure you that I knew that. And then the first St. Ange payment is going out and it's in line with our contract and approved by Stantec. So it looks right to me and So that's processed, which is great. We have two more invoices that'll be coming in within the next month, so.
If you have a copy of the bid for that truck, print off a copy of it.
I do.
You just have it so Mo can look at it and walk
It's in
around
his
the truck
box.
and make sure
Yeah.
all the bells and whistles he paid for are there.
Yeah, okay, I'll make sure that we're on that. The grant writer, withdrew his application, an unforeseeable circumstance came up. So we don't have any grant writer applicants. I'm not sure what direction you wanna go with the grant writer position. I have some ideas, but it's something that we can discuss, I'm not sure.
What is the scope for, what would be the expectation for like on a monthly basis? How many grants are there? How much time, how much work would be expected of a grant writer?
If we were to, so it says in the I've not been with a grant writer in this position yet, but it says in the contract, in the job description, that this is 8 to 15 hours dependent on, what the.
8 to 15 a
8
week
to
or a
15
month?
week.
A week.
And it really depends on who you have, right?
Yeah.
They can milk 8 into 40, or you could have a guy who wanted to go out and chase the engineering for the water department, the roof for the water department, something,
And it also says that the grants that are supposed to be written need to be approved by the grant committee, which is somebody from this office and then the library and the others who have contributed to the salary of the position.
Yeah, if they're still interested. Library said they had their own kind of thing, so I don't know if they're still.
Yeah. I think they don't have faith in the fact, they gave us, I think, 2 grants and we missed the deadlines on those, so. I looked into, I personally think that the cost of a grant writer is too high for this municipality. I think that, I mean, I can't imagine paying $1 an hour stipend to a grant writer from here, but that's what the going rate is, or $100 if it's a federal grant, that's the going rate. And I, in my position, don't have time to write grants, but there is a lot of data entry that I do every week. And I was looking at the role of treasurer and what the municipal structures are what we can allow around money management and things like that. So in the state of Vermont, a municipal treasurer can appoint a bookkeeper to cover AP and payroll. And those are the things that take about 8 hours a week to just make sure that all of our accounts payable are right and everything is in the right place in the computer and calling up based on statements or missing invoices. It's about 8 hours a week. That amount of time, if it was off my plate, I could write 8 hours of grants a week for sure. And reporting. And that's what I do. So I just wanted to put that out there as something that you have in your pocket. You have an opportunity. I can't do this. But I can't do it with the amount of stuff. And that's really the only thing that I think. It doesn't take a lot. A bookkeeper doesn't take a lot. It just takes a lot of time to data enter and call people and follow up on invoices. So maybe without that, I would be able to use more of an executive thinking brain, which I like. So it's just something to think about. I don't think it's urgent, but that's where we are, and that was my idea.
We're swapping 4 quarters for $1 though. Who would find to do bookkeeping?
Well, yeah, it's just,
Bookkeeping is a little easier to get.
Yeah, but your fingers on the pulse, we get a report,
Yeah, and I don't know how easy it is to actually find, well, you can see it on all jobs, just get somebody who wants to do 8 hours, basically 1 day a week.
No, and I've looked at the ad we had out, and we're advertising for a 1970s grant writer.
Yeah.
I think it'd be better to advertise, you know, based on experience or based on production. I don't know, can you,
It does say, track record of successful grant writing.
right, but we handcuff ourselves with the $17 to $22 or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's not enough.
You should just take that line out.
Right.
So, when the grants are.
But what we
out
should do, I just want to mix thing, what we should do is go back and check how much did we use the grant writer when we actually had them.
Right, I was kind of going down the same road.
Yeah.
You know which grants we're after?
I know which ones that we should go after, yeah, and there's facilities
But
grant
are
that
they,
we go
so
for.
if the grants that you wanna go after, go through us and, you know, and we can do the match and everything, and we know that, okay, this grant's would be valid, then we go to the grant writer and say, hey, you know, here's the grant we want you to write. And
Right.
it's $50 an hour, or $100 an hour,
Mhm.
you know, specific for exactly what we're looking for.
Right.
Instead of just going helter-skelter.
Because that's what
Right,
happened
well,
previously.
and he should come to us with a list every month. Here's 10 that I think
Yeah,
would
exactly.
qualify for things you're doing.
Exactly.
And we can look and say, oh, it's a 50% match.
Right.
We're not interested in that project anyways.
Exactly.
Or you're gonna maintain it 5 years after you get the original grant, you're gonna have so much more money.
Now
than
you're
somebody
buying
else.
snowplows
Yeah,
and
and-
maintaining snowplows.
And it's
Right.
always in the fine print, and the fine print is usually about 15 pages long, and it takes time to just scroll through and find out if it's even a legitimate option.
Right,
So that is another part, it's not just the writing of the grant, it's about knowing what the projects are, that you should never run after a grant that is not what you're doing. It has to be, you have to find a grant that is for what you're doing. So that person would need to know the municipal interests and design and priorities and be able to articulate that in words so that it's not overly cumbersome for anybody.
I'm not dismissing your idea, I don't know about, you know,
I don't think we need
the
to make a
logistics of the
decision
bookkeeping, I mean, I think we embrace any kind of open-mindedness of like how to do things better. But with that said, for the next meeting, could you compile a list of what you think, you know, like on Ron's point? You know, these are the grants that I think would be logical for us, and then we can maybe get our head around, like,
Right, because I think in the past, we
prioritize
chased too many grants that didn't have a real.
yeah.
they
I
were
just asked Melanie how many hours she spent. I think was she our first grant writer?
No, there was
Maybe there was somebody before
there was
her.
one or two before her
She said 8 to 10 hours a week she spent, she
Yeah.
thinks.
in that range.
Yeah.
That's what she told me too. Jonathan was a little nebulous about, I couldn't really get an answer on it. He was also the grant writer last year, I think.
Yeah.
He got paid as the grant writer last year.
I agree with you. Let's kind of concentrate ourselves so because before it seemed like when we had it was helter skelter.
Yeah.
You know.
well, yeah, could you, before, you know, in the next couple of meetings, put together what you think are, you know, like the low-hanging fruit, the ones that are most, you know, like in alignment with where we're going and what.
And there's waves that keep coming, I mean, there's always something, there's always a new grant that's coming up that we could go for. So I can give you the ones that we could be going for right now, but they're due in October. So, you know, and.
Right, it doesn't have to be specific. We need
Yeah, just a
ballpark
general,
of what are the top
what is it?
4 grants come out on a yearly basis or in a chapter project
I
that
can
we're
do
looking
that.
at.
Yep, that's a good idea, okay.
Yeah, maybe one of, you know, maybe we could, select board members could, you know, take a stab at putting a grant together or something.
I think that'd be great.
Well, I mean, you know, like.
They have a lot of time, free time fishing.
I'd be interested to see what they are.
Sure, I can do that.
I remember one time I went with a mandatory meeting in Montpelier. The guy was the head of the League of City Towns. And
Excuse me?
He was the league of city towns. He was the
Yeah,
head of
okay.
it, but he was a manager for Waterbury, Vermont. And he was the guy that pretty much said, you know, don't get yourself too carried away with this grant stuff. Because he said too many towns have got themselves into it. Oh, this looks grand, and then all of a sudden, their budget keeps going up, because now they've got to fund these positions themselves. There's a minimum of 3 more years after the grant runs out. I said, Waterbury caught themselves in that. I said, just gotta be really careful which way to take.
Well, the pavilion was kind of, there's some little traps in that, you know, just
Oh, yeah.
having that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I actually appreciate when you say something, you've said it a few times in meetings about, we have to be careful not to be building something that we know we also have to maintain, because we have, I mean, we don't have a building, you know, manager, we don't have that, this is you guys.
Be on the school board, right? State will furnish these positions, and then they cost you double or triple
Right.
later on, because they quit.
Because once you didn't have it, well, we can't live without this. You lived without it for the 3 years we just got it.
Yeah.
And we were doing okay, not, you know, this was helpful, don't get me wrong, it wasn't,
No,
but we managed without it before and you didn't have to keep. Yeah, or goals, I can remember trends, remember there was that reading specialist thing, you know,
Yeah.
the greatest thing we created. Well, then after 5 years, almost every school dumped it, you know, it's like that. I remember when Ellen was starting school, they were doing this whole word instead of phonetics. I used to stop short and about help her. And I thought, why in God's name would you go to this? Well, that lasted about 3 to 4 years. That thing was gone and went back to phonetics, you know.
so, let's see. Friends of Northern Lake Champlain is requesting a $1,000 appropriation in their 2023 budget. No need to make a decision tonight, but that's just a heads up, they are not currently listed on our list, so. And we're going into, budget season pretty soon, so just something to keep in mind.
When will we do that? November? Is that what we did last year? So-
I'd like to start doing it, I'm planning, I'm already looking at the budget to see what we
Well,
need,
they need
and
a,
thinking about it.
They have to petition
because they're not,
because they're not currently on board. And with COVID done, I think, how did we leave it? We did it because of COVID, that they didn't have to get petitions again.
well, of the old ones.
Oh, you're right, any new ones had to get a petition.
Right.
Okay,
It's not much, but it just,
Yeah, 5% of voters or something.
okay. That's,
Because for a while, that was getting longer than most of the articles in the town report.
and
Everybody wanting $100 for abandoned cats or fleas or something.
yeah, or, you know, for a project that has nothing to do with Fairfield, that
Mhm.
happens too, where people
Yeah.
want money and you ask them how many residents of Fairfield are benefiting and it's nobody, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I will let them know about that. And, the only other thing is that Northwest Fiberworks, it's just an annual ask, are you good with being still the, on the legislative body of this CUD?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're my alternate, I've been going to the meetings and,
So they started that anyway?
so they had an arrangement, they were working on all of the legal, planning with the company that was going to be the primary, entity on the fiberworks. They were gonna be paying the upfront costs and then, they were gonna be the primary entity, and that all fell through.
I read that paper, but there's nothing going on now because they don't have anybody to work.
So they're working on getting a whole new project, a whole new, contract together with a new entity.
Kind of sounds like that Burlington Telecom when you take over, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was something about how,
Yeah, it was
like, one of the municipalities didn't have
pages.
enough people,
Right, they didn't, their numbers were distorted.
yeah.
Well, they were dead people.
You know, they don't make many calls.
Yeah, so it's still plugging along though, I mean, they're still working on making sure that the work is getting done, so there's a lot of work to get done in terms of legwork to get.
Can be much slower than Verizon for our place and all that.
I mean, there's a big push for it, but I don't think this is anything that's, at first I thought it was gonna go somewhere, but now I think it's gonna be a dead horse in the water for a while.
For a little while. So, if you're good with being that alternate still, and I'm good with being on the committee, we just need to sign that that's true and hand it in. And that's it for me in terms of, and I did not, so you wanted me to connect with a lawyer about, you brought that up earlier in the meeting.
Well, actually, we discussed at the last meeting to see what the legality of it was to close that road.
Right, so you sent out a document the next day about what it would take to do that. I would have to review that again. We can talk about that at the next meeting if you'd like. I'm sorry, I don't have that with me.
Well, I think part of that you gotta go through the town attorney too, right?
Well, that's what they were gonna talk to the attorney
Yeah.
and see what it took to.
Yeah.
What's the Pent Road deal? That seems like the best option.
What road?
Hold on,
Pen?
I'll bring it up.
Back in the day, they bring cattle on cattle drives. There'd be certain roads, one was
You
up
had
on
a
the
really good
grandfather's.
idea, that's right.
Up there.
Emailed about
They
it.
call them pent up roads.
That's what it is? That's
Yeah,
what
at
it is?
nighttime, what they could do was they could have a gate at each end, and they keep cattle in there till they took them out the next day and went towards St. Albans. When you start in Waterville, my father told me, they'd start in Waterville and bring a cattle drive down through all the way.
So if we designated it as a Pent Road, then the landowners could gate it off. They could do whatever they want to gate it off as long as it's not locked.
As long as it's not locked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but that's how those get started.
And let them, you know, do the cost of the gate or whatever they put out there.
I think that, yeah, I don't wanna talk too much about what I have it fresh in my mind.
Yeah, I think,
I could definitely do the research, I'm sorry that I didn't bring that with me today.
yeah, and I think it would be good to touch base with the attorney too.
Yeah.
Cause,
Yeah.
But ask them about that Pented Up Road, because there was,
Oh, yeah.
they were all over the place. Cause I was listening one day, it was the most interesting I've listened to in a long time, I was working in the woods, with headphones on, and it was on,
A Pent
Yeah.
Road is in any town highway which by written allowance of the select board is enclosed and occupied by the adjoining landowner with unlocked stiles, gates, and bars in such places as the select board designates.
but this one was like turkeys, you used to take them all the way to Boston and walk them. And they said they used to dip the feet in tar, so by the time they get to Boston, the bottom of the feet seemed to be worn off on dirt roads. That must have been quite an
But
exercise.
the road would still be the top Fairfield Road.
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah, and
it would still be, it could be a class 4,
I do
but
remember
then
that.
called a Pent Road.
Right, I do remember that there was a paragraph in there that said something to the effect of, it's not the best idea for a municipality to give up roads because population growth suggests that you'll need more roads, not less.
And the minute we do that, every other road, it's gonna, all the roads gonna ask for the same thing. You don't have no access to anyone.
see the one they gave up, like Sheldon gave up, or Danny Burns was. He was the only property owner on that road at the end of it. That's why they were.
What Kathy's referring to right now, there are approximately 1,700 miles of class 4 highways and trails in Vermont. Almost every town has at least a couple miles of them, usually in more remote sections of town. With the population growing and the interest in outdoor recreation increasing, it's important to keep class 4 highways and trails as public resources. As private land is further developed, there will be less access for snowmobiling, cross-country skiing, walking, bicycling, horseback riding, blah, blah, blah. Town-controlled corridors help ensure that there will continue to be a place to enjoy these activities. They also often serve as important links to more extensive trail systems that are on private lands. Class 4 highways and trails provide important transportation access for forest and agricultural management. Finally, as communities grow, these rights-of-way may be needed to provide for development and may be upgraded accordingly. It would be costly to the town to pay landowners for a right-of-way. If the town retains the right-of-way, reclassification to class 3, for instance, would involve virtually no cost beyond the cost of survey and notice.
Thank you.
I read that about 6 times, and then I actually tried to go deeper in the state statutes, but
It's
I
tough.
think it's relatively.
It's tough. They don't make it easy to understand.
nothing's ever easy. So you got any?
Oh, I got a long list. Sorry.
I also have the budget, if you want, if
How we
you just
doing?
wanna keep it up, we're in good shape, we're at the end of the second quarter, the third quarter this month, we're at 82%, which is about where we were last year at this time. I can't see it all right now, 81.25%. So, we're 75% through the year, and we've gone through 81% of the budget, which is not bad, considering the cost increases of everything.
Well, you're not, you're kind of a wind down part now, you're not gonna be doing any major constructions and stuff.
What do we have for big churches? We bought our sand, we bought our chloride, some salt.
I don't need that. Thank you.
Can I go while you're looking at that?
Sure, that's good to know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a big update on it, it's just, we're in good shape, so.
Tim Reed is doing a development which requires him to name a road. He would like to call it Reed Road. Anyone care?
That's the one where his house is now,
Yes,
and that's the one that Dave Perry bought, the old house first, is that?
yes, correct. Tim's house is next door and the driveway Reed Road will be where Tim's driveway is, and then it's kind of, his driveway will cut off this way, and the development's driveway goes this way. Took him a long time because he went through wetlands and it had to go through a big deal, but he's got the approvals now.
Yes, right after City Commons, old place. The house is there, and you just go, it's almost the next driveway.
It is the
Oh,
next
right.
driveway
That's
after
where I
Morris.
meant coming from the pond, it's that one there, right across from, Jetty driveway almost.
Yeah.
Or Jetty Road, it'd be a private road.
Before Jenny, but yeah,
It's a private road though, right?
it is a private road.
Yeah.
It is. If he just wants to call it Reed Road and you have to approve that, that's fine.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Do we need to make a motion on it?
No, you don't. I told you I would update you on the Egypt Road trash complaint.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of nothing, and there is no trash outdoor evident. I mean, there's a small amount of outdoor trash evident, nothing more than anyone else has. It does not present a public health hazard. They're in the middle of nowhere. There was a complaint submitted about Dick Oligers from a new resident, saying that they didn't like the trash that accumulates at Oligers over there. For those of you who haven't been around here, background on that, for 20 years, the zoning administrator tried to get a fence built around that property with no success, and were eventually told just to leave it alone. Do you want us to do anything about it?
Obviously, that one hasn't had to have a place to put their used metal, I guess. No weekends, there's nothing, next time you go by, there's 40 bicycles.
Well, a lot of times washer and dryer, but
Yeah.
then when he gets a load, he gets rid of it.
Well,
I mean,
otherwise-
the other stuff.
I guess
He's cleaned up,
otherwise,
he's
we're gonna-
cleaned up some junk.
Yeah,
He has cleaned up some junk. It looks
otherwise we're
better
gonna
than
be
it
finding
has
them on the
before.
roadsides.
That person who lives across the road is a new resident.
Yeah.
They just bought that house, and their house used to be
Screened in.
screened, and it's no longer screened, so now they look right at Dick's and they're not happy. So how would you like that handled?
They probably should have seen that before they bought the house.
They bought the house knowing that it was there, it hasn't
Yeah.
changed, and it's been that way for,
You don't like it loudly. Welcome to.
so I'll write them a polite letter thanking them for their concern, and
We're still addressing the issue.
Tom, we're looking at it, we've been looking at it.
we've been looking at it for a long time.
Can't get the state to back us up.
There was a similar, I don't know, David, you always don't like me to use names. There was a similar complaint about a property in East Fairfield where allegations were made about extra buildings on the property. And like a bunch of other things that were stupid, like we're scared of this person and so we don't want to do anything about it. And there's people living in this building that have no water and they have to bring water in a bucket. Well, I don't really care about any of that. As health officer, a landlord or tenant has to make a complaint. The complaint came from neither. So I'm just informing you, but I'm doing nothing about it.
That's not the one that had an outdoor space, so.
No. Egypt Road also. It's BS in my humble opinion. And then I noticed last 2 weeks ago, a Facebook post announcing the opening of an indoor pub at West End Pizza. I wanted to make sure that
Their license.
they have a liquor license for an outdoor, and they have a zoning permit for a pizza takeout. They don't have a license for an indoor seating, either locally or state. I know that you previously had been not in appreciation of a pub at Chester's, which had been, or at the Old Town Clerk's office, which had been suggested by a previous select board member a number of years ago. You were very
We
against
kicked
that
him out,
thought.
we kicked him out of town.
So I want you to know that there is now an indoor pub functioning there. Do you want me to pursue that in any way from a zoning standpoint? They don't have the appropriate permitting for an indoor facility. They think they do.
You may, in my mind, you ought to just bring it to their attention, like, hey guys.
I did,
And they said, we think we do.
and they said, we think we do, and you're very unprofessional for contacting me. Have someone from the town to contact me. I just left it.
Did you tell them you worked in the town?
And no, I wasn't gonna get into that back and forth BS. Well, if you want it approached, we will approach it via letter.
Is it a big deal for the zoning board to approve the thing itself, the zoning itself?
If you want it approved, we will approve it. It is not, it's a conditional approval anyway,
Yeah.
because we only approve that sort of facility in the village. It's not something that we have in our zoning bylaws outside the village, but we looked at it and we said, you know what, it's a great spot for it. Why not? I mean, somebody trying to create a home business, it made sense.
Stones in it? Did they ever come to the town for a license for
They
something?
did. They came to
Must
the
be
town.
approved it.
They came to the town and to the state in November of 2021 initially for their beer and wine license to go with their takeout thing. And then in May, they got a outside consumption permit for the porch. And then they got a first-class restaurant and bar license from the state.
Does that mean liquor and everything, or is that just wine and beer?
Malt and vinous beverages,
So it's beer and wine.
beer and wine. Located on the east side of a two-story commercial and residential building located east of the intersection of Route 36 and West Street. So it says located on the east side of a two-story commercial and residential building. It does not specify indoor or outdoor. And it never came through the town. When we approved it as a takeout joint. We never approved it as a sit-down indoor. And I certainly didn't want to take the initiative and say, we'll be fine with that, because you guys said no to Chester's or the town clerk's office. So, not my business to say yes to something that you said no to years ago. So, I would like direction on that.
Well, one, I think, up there too was part of its septic system.
That's
Thing-
what
She claims when I spoke to
Oh, no,
her.
not up there, but I'm at,
Oh.
up here,
Okay.
there's a limited amount you can.
She claimed when I spoke to her that she had adequate septic for it. Was never discussed with us when she came to zoning for an indoor.
Is it a zoning violation? I guess that's what I'm like.
Technically, yes. But these things, I mean, yes, it's a violation. It was not permitted as an indoor sit-down, it was permitted as a takeout.
Yeah.
So, it's, we need direction. How would you like it handled?
But like stones and then get a new one every year. They
Right,
get
that's
one
just-
this
They
year.
don't have an indoor bar, and that's what this is.
Oh, that's
Wow,
different.
still beer and liquor though.
It is beer and liquor, as does James. They have beer and liquor, but they don't have a bar, a sit-down bar.
Well, if you're
And
looking
that
for
is
one
different.
person's feedback, I think it's great. I think we'd encourage it. I mean, more revenue.
I don't have a problem with it, I just,
Yes, with all, with not knowing all the details of like septic and all these other kind, but if you're looking for feedback from this,
I
from one
want-
member of the select board,
I want direction.
yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I'm a little concerned that there's some ambiguity
but these things happen, you know, like with,
But should, I guess I'm questioning, should we just have zoning and planning notify them and say, you know, it's brought to our board, it's brought to our attention that maybe this doesn't have all the permitting, we'd like to make sure, just so if someone starts somewhere, some other place, and go, hey, that place is there, they pull that one off, why can't I? Again, I don't have a problem with the place, I just wanna make sure we cover our own butts.
yeah, well, I'm
For-
trying to respond to the question that was raised,
Yeah.
like,
If it's a conditional use zoning, it needs to be conditionally approved, they need to make a plan and just
Yeah.
come bring it in.
Bring it,
But
bring
when
it.
they bring it
Because
in,
if we just let it roll, the next person's gonna have a
Yes.
regular full-time,
Mhm.
a converted hay barn and be,
Yeah,
exactly true, but the question is, do you want an indoor facility?
I don't know, we can't tell that until we have the information.
What information do you want?
What kind of facility is it? What are we
It is a
doing?
pub.
That's
It's a
you
small-
reading it off
small
Facebook,
room or
right?
No, I've seen it.
Right,
It's
but until the owner comes in and says, this is the plan, right? I mean, as zoning, you're not gonna make a decision just based off walking in at once.
I wouldn't make a decision personally in any case.
No,
That's not my job.
No, but the zoning board or whoever's gonna approve it wants to see what are the facts, what do you have laid out, do you have your permits from the state, do you have everything in place? I mean, if it's conditional use, you could conditionally apply that, approve that, because it has.
We can if
max-
you want us to. That's the question. Do you
I
want
don't
to
have a
approve?
problem with it as long, but I do think there should be some kind of plan so that everybody and their hillbilly brother decides to throw a tent up somewhere. and
So
open
that's what I'm
a
saying, you
bar.
can conditionally
Up the
approve
woods.
this with.
If you want us to conditionally approve it, we can go through the steps to conditionally approve it. But I don't want to conditionally approve something that you do not approve of. That is not my
well,
role.
does anyone object to,
I don't know,
Going
to it, as
forward
long
with
as
conditional
we
approval?
meet compliance and we got it set up so if somebody else does something really goofy in the same way and tries to use that as a precedent.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, is we don't know enough about it to say we conditionally approve it. Is it maximum of 5 people, a small intimate setting, or are they planning on having 50
Right,
people?
using the whole house eventually.
Right, this is, we don't have all the ducks
So
in
what-
front of us.
So what they need to do is come in with their plan.
Right, zoning should have a set, this is the information we need to do a conditional approval. I'm not opposed to it,
Well,
I just,
I guess what I'm asking is who do you think, should the select board send a letter?
No, the zoning
And
administrator.
just say, we've been talking and been directed by the select board or something, that like see this
Whatever,
plan,
we'll deal
whatever's
with it.
required. But I think the majority of us on here seem like, yeah, if we can make it work, we just want it done in a manner so that,
The
we don't wind up with
approval,
problems.
the letter will say that your additional approval did not include an indoor facility.
yeah.
And this changes your permit, so come in and,
Explain what your.
I think
what
it's
your-
funny, cause one time they wanted to put a creamy stand in, the state was giving them a hell of a time, of getting a license for that.
right, so the liquor license we gave them, that's for sale of beer and wine, right?
yes, but it was porch immediately outside of the main entrance.
Right, but not consumption,
Correct.
so that's gonna be updated.
Well,
And number 2, I mean, there are other businesses in town that have much newer septic facilities and,
That one's, when they built.
this one, they have a state permit for on-premise consumption.
Yeah, but that one there, when they built that, when Tim built that, I thought the thing was way oversized for the property at that time. Maybe that was the logic, maybe that was the logic behind it, I don't know.
I don't know, whatever, like you said, I'm not opposed to.
So the state has wastewater approval for them?
We don't do wastewater,
The state?
so the state has all, and we don't.
Okay, and
The
they
town
approved it,
has
but
nothing.
they approved it, right?
They
Yeah.
approved a liquor license. Wastewater is completely separate,
Yeah, but the
which they
state-
would have approved many years ago.
Just send
when
them
it
a
was
letter,
built.
say, if you're gonna do it, you gotta come in for conditional approval, send us some information.
Yeah.
We can't conditionally approve it if we don't know anything more.
What's going on,
Yeah.
what your plans are,
Yeah.
what the capacity is, or hours, or how many days, 7 days a week?
Well, the
or-
state permits have that information.
Yeah, but we don't.
We don't,
Well, actually,
you do.
I think you do. When you approved it with Linda, she had this information and probably didn't make it clear, or maybe it wasn't clear to her, that it included an on-site consumption permit, because we don't have any of those, so it's different than our norm.
Well, I guess we need to get some information before we make a final decision.
Yeah.
Okay,
But,
that's all I have.
okay, well, I'd make a motion, to accept the warrants, did we do that?
Nope, that's what I was gonna bring up. Second. Any other business to come before the board?
I want one quick,
We're gonna vote in the warrants.
All those in favor?
Aye.
one quick, what do you call that thing?
Executive session.
Do you wanna do the minutes first?
We already-
We already
They
did.
did.
Okay.
They're done.
Okay.
Somebody
You're gonna make a
second.
motion, second.
Second, sure.
So we want to make a motion, to go to executive session?
To discuss.
Personnel. Very quick, very easy.
And into, within the select board.
Yes.